Hi and welcome back to Writer's Block. I'm Lee, and today I have a TBR video. I'm doing it a little bit differently though. I've decided to try a little experiment of trying out different Booktubers TBR games to figure out which way of figuring out my TBR is the best and I enjoy the most. So I found a few that I want to try, like Jade's TBR Pursuit, Becca's Bookopoly, Gavin's Play Your TBR Right. So the first one I was going to try was Jade's TBR Pursuit. So I've made my own little TBR board. I don't have an actual Trivial Pursuit board, so I don't have the little counter that goes around, so I've just had to make a little circle. And then I've made the little question cards on a piece of paper. I've taken the same questions that she puts on her own one, and then I've used the colours as being young adult fantasy for pink, red is adult fantasy, blue is sci-fi, green is middle grade, and then I've got other for purple being like other genres I do read enough but don't have heaps of books, so like horror or thriller, and then yellow being blank, it could be any genre I want. So the first roll I got was a blue, and that is sci-fi, and the question was start a new series. And so I picked Iron Widow by Jadeyraereads. This I think is just a duology. I'm not entirely sure. It's loosely inspired by a Chinese empress, and it's kind of Chinese history mixed with Pacific Rim, and it's in a world in which these pilots, a man and a woman, have to team up and they fight these alien monsters, but every time these fights take place the female pilot ends up dying, and so our protagonist recognizes the sexism of this, and so she wants to get revenge for her sister dying in this, and so she becomes a pilot herself, and she ends up surviving, and also ends up being that the male pilot ends up dying, so she gets branded the Iron Widow, and so the people in charge keep trying to put her together with more fierce male pilots over and over again, but she keeps winning each time, and she's basically gonna try and topple this really sexist regime while at the same time, I guess, battling these alien monsters. The next role I got was pink, and so that is a YA fantasy. And that one, the prompt was a book that I was gifted. And so I picked Shadow of the Fox because my parents brought me the outcrate box that this one came in. 1,000 years ago, the great Kami dragon was summoned to grant a single terrible wish, and the land of the Agato was plunged into an age of darkness and chaos. Now, for whoever holds the scroll of 1,000 prayers, a new wish will be granted. A new age is about to dawn. Raised by the monks in the isolated Silent Winds Temple, Yumeko has trained her whole life to hide her yokai nature, half kitsune, half human. Her skill with illusion is matched only by her penchant for mischief. Until the day her home is burnt to the ground, her adopted family is brutally slain, and she is forced to flee for her life with the temple's greatest treasure, one part of the ancient scroll. I'm really not sure what to expect of this. I know Julie Kagawa is a very beloved author, so hopefully I like it. I'm pretty sure this is a trilogy. It does actually have a glossary at the back, so I can familiarize myself with all the words that I don't know. And so the next role was a green, so middle grade, and the prompt was a book with a one-word title. I have heaps of books that have one-word titles, but it turns out I only have one middle grade with a one-word title, and that is Sheets by Brenna Thumler. I think that's how you say it. So this is a graphic novel. As far as I can remember, which I can't really, is set in a laundromat in which a girl is struggling as like a coming of age kind of story, but also there's ghosts that haunt the laundromat. So it says, for Marjorie Gatt, being 13 years old isn't quite the same as it is for everyone else. Responsible for running her family's laundromat while trying to survive middle school, Marjorie's daily struggles include persnickety customers, snippy classmates, agonizing swimming lessons, laundry, and always laundry. Wendell is a bit different too. Wendell is a ghost. His daily struggles include death youth sport groups and other unavoidable stains. And when he escapes from the land of ghosts and bumbles into Marjorie's laundromat, the perfect ghost playground, his attempts at fun and friendship begin to harm the family business. So it looks like it's going to be a kind of a heartwarming story about a friendship between a little teenage girl and a ghost. The next role landed on any, so I could pick any genre for this, and the prompt was a second chance author. I had to go through my Goodreads to find out which authors I've not liked before, and I found that there's only one author whose book I still own where I've not liked their previous books, and that was J. Kristoff, because I've read Illuminae, wasn't particularly impressed, and IDNF's Lifelike. So the only book I have of an author I've not previously liked is Nevernight. If I can remember, is a girl called Mia Corvera who is training to be an assassin, and that's basically all I know about it. I know a lot of people love this, but I also hear it's pretty pedantic and pretentious. Says Mia Corvera is only 10 years old when she's given her first lesson in death. Destined to destroy empires, a child raised in shadow made a promise on the day she lost everything to avenge herself on those that shattered her world. The next role landed on purple, which is other, so thrillers, horrors, that kind of thing. And the prompt was rarely spoken of. Luckily, my last arc actually fits this, as it is a thriller horror, and I've not actually heard many people speak of it, even though it's by two well-known authors. And that is All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Christina Lynn Herman. So Amanda Foody wrote the Ace of Shades series, and Christina Lynn Herman wrote the Devouring Grey, I believe. So in this world, it's kind of like magic has died out, or everyone thinks it has, except there's this one little island or somewhere where magic still exists, and it's actually the people on this island control all the magic, but they have to fight to get control of it. So every generation or so there is a competition to see which family in this town is gonna be the ones controlling the magic, and it's a fight to the death in these competitions. And so it's that all the families are actually kind of secretly evil, and it's all been kind of secretive about the fact that they are the ones controlling all the magic in the world, until a book is published that lets the whole world know about this one and about the fact that magic still exists. And as a result, they end up kind of being like a media frenzy of trying to figure out, like, make their favourite people win in the battles and start sponsoring the different families, because normally it's one particular family that wins every single time, and so now people are trying to make it so that someone else will actually have the power. But ultimately every single family in this have dark sides, and they're all at least a little bit evil. The last prompt was adult fantasy, and for that one I had to pick a book with 3 words or less, which is basically most books. So I decided to go for a book that's quite short, and so I went with Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This book is, I think it's kind of surrealist. It's also based off of some mythologies, but also it turns out Piranesi is based off of an architect or artist, and it's based off of these maze theories that he designed. And so it's set in a house in which there is a protagonist, Piranesi, and then there's one other person called the Other. And it's pretty much, this house is just a labyrinth of mazes and mysteries all the way through. But Piranesi is the only other person in this house. It's just him and the Other, who only appears on certain days. Then all of a sudden messages start appearing, and it seems to be there's someone else in the house now. It's kind of a mystery and a surrealist, mind-bending maze. Apparently it's very bizarre, very weird, but also very beautiful, which is what Susanna Clarke is known for, frankly. So that is all the books on this TBR for TBR Pursuit. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you later with another video.